Ethnicity is an emotive subject at the best of times, but it doesn't have to be so. Let us all be honest with ourselves. What comes first? Your ethnicity or your nationality? In our global world, ethnicity is increasingly dominating the world's headlines. For now, though, let's stay in Africa, where we have hundreds of tribes within our 142 ethnic groups distributed across our 54 countries. Kenya, for example, has 47 tribes within 10 ethnic groups, but we have no either verbal or published common history. Each group pursues its version of history without reference to the whole. As a Kenyan then, are you a Kalenjin, Kikuyu, Mukamba, Maasai first and Kenyan second? When you say, I'm a proud Kenyan, what exactly are you proud of? Are you truly proud of your nationality, or are you prouder of your ethnic heritage? Have you ever considered, why is it that whenever another Kenyan produces a world-beating feat of athleticism, the heroine or hero's homecoming occurs in their ethnic heartland? Surely as Kenyans, it should occur in Kenya-wide first. Let me share another anecdote. Government offices, whether you work in them, whether you love them, whether you hate them, we all have to enter them sometime. You know how it is. You go to the main entrance door, you walk in, you see the big hall, you identify the windows that are offering you the service you want. And you see there's 3 windows offering you the same service. So you go and you find the one with the shortest queue. And whilst you're standing in that queue, you suddenly hear 2 windows down. It's a slightly longer queue, but the officer serving speaks your mother tongue. So what do we do as Kenyans? We walk across to the longer queue on the assumption that we can get a better service from somebody who's speaking our mother tongue. Similarly and daily, with no historical proof or foundation, we express our ethnicity over our nationality, based on an ignorance of our shared history and common cultures. I believe we need to, and we can change this. I believe we can become a united country of 47 tribes with one common history. All it takes is some individual responsibility. As for me, I'm a Kenyan, through and through. My mother's parents immigrated to Kenya from Norway in 1928. My father emigrated here in 1953 and found a job as a coffee manager on Zambia estate, Donyasubuk area, where the Wakamba people are the dominant community. We, my siblings and myself, grew up on Nzabi, playing with the children of my father's employees. At the time, neither English nor Swahili were widely spoken. So, to play with our friends, we had to learn Kikamba. Thus, Kikamba was our language of play. English was our home language. We were very fortunate to have been initiated into the Wakamba culture at such a young age. So for me, I therefore am a Kenyan. But many Kenyans regard me as a foreigner, even after I've shared my story. Why? Assumption. They assume, based on an ignorance of our history, that from the color of my skin, I must be a foreigner. Nations, states, tribes, all words that describe cohesive human societies, defined by common culture, by common descent, common language, bounded by discrete geographic borders, governed under one government. In the 1890s, the Europeans drew lines on a map, and suddenly all our 47 tribes were now one. The maps of the time only indicated 16 tribes. What a shock it must have been to the colonial bureaucrats to discover that there were more than 16 tribes. Imagine with me the bureaucratic confusion when a new tribe was found. Picture the conversation. What do you mean you found a new tribe? What do you want us to do with this new tribe? Well, you could add them. Add them? We just can't add them to the list. That is most unprocedural. Besides which, we neither have the funding nor the resources for that. No, we need to refer this matter to our superiors, and you will have to wait for their feedback. In the meantime, please, don't go finding any more tribes. Disorder, perceived or otherwise, is an anathema to the bureaucratic mind. Where it finds disorder, it develops policies to create order. The British bureaucrat of the time could not conceive how it was possible for our tribes to survive without defined borders. Again, picture the conversation with me, please. What do you mean you don't have a border? You must have a border. How do you manage trade, taxation, or govern without a border? No, we can't have you without borders. We will create borders for you. What we will do is we will define your tribal area and establish a native reserve that you can call home. Now then, you sir are a native of Ukambani, and you are a native of Maasai land, and you're a native of Kikuyu land. As members of the British Empire, you are also all British subjects, but of Kenyan descent. No wonder we are confused as to who we are. Where are we now? In 1974, the University of Texas described us as being of 6 ethnic groups. So we went from 16 tribes in 1890 to 6 ethnic groups in 1974. And now we have 47 recognized tribes. Confused does not adequately describe our dysfunctional society. Drawing lines on a map in 1890 created an unnatural nation, essentially forcing 47 nations to become one. During the colonial period, nationhood was enforced by the colonial power. Post-independence, it's been enforced by proxy, through aid or economic pressure. Of immediate concern, however, is that history's lessons point to the inherent instability of unnatural nations. For an example, we need look no further than our northern neighbour Sudan. On this basis, the prognosis for Kenya staying as a single nation are not good. The greatest threat to our country right now is the inherent instability that portrays itself with our daily expressions of ethnicity over nationality. I believe we need to, and we can change this. Despite history's lessons, we can become a natural nation. How? First, start with yourself. Start by rediscovering your family's history and ethnic traditions from members of your immediate family. Sit down with a mind cleared of all assumptions and draw up a list of questions you've always wanted asked about your family's history and ethnic traditions. Then, when you visit with your older relatives, turn your phone on to record, call your children over, give them the phone, prompt them with one of the questions, and get them to ask the question of your relatives. If by chance your relatives have passed on, search in the community for members of the same generation. It is of no matter what the language is, or whether you believe the stories or not. Save these stories in a family folder online. As you save them, listen to them. This will likely lead you to other questions. In doing this, every time you visit with your relatives, you will soon have the wisdom of the ages to guide you and your family's lives. Stories. Africa lives on stories. Once you've listened to the stories, then share them. Share them with members of a different ethnic community or from your own ethnic community. Sharing, not imposing, demonstrates your vulnerability. Listening, not dismissing, demonstrates your empathy. In doing this, you will soon discover the many similarities that make up the canvas we call our home Kenya. The minor differences are the sparkle of contrast that light up our mutual history. Yes, we are 10 ethnic groups and 47 tribes. And by all the hallmarks of nationhood, we are an unnatural one. Nevertheless, by accepting and sharing our personal history, and then demonstrating to ourselves and our children that dignity, respect, and leadership are earned, not imposed, we can change the course of history. I believe by understanding our histories, we can change the way we perceive it. For 5 decades now, we have followed in our leaders' footsteps, expecting change. Really? Or to paraphrase an old Kikamba proverb, only fools expect a good hunt by following yesterday's tracks. For change to occur, you need to change. Discover yourself, be responsible, be the change you want to see, and unite a country. Start with small steps. Be proud, but not arrogant of your ethnic heritage and your family history, whilst accepting that of others. Remember that interdependence is the most powerful, cohesive force that we as humans have. Whereas independence, based on bigotry, leads to discord, division, conflict, and the eventual implosion of society. Let us each take the remarkably simple action of recording and sharing our personal histories. And by demonstrating and practicing interdependence, we will regain control of our lives, our country, and our futures. Such that when you meet a stranger on the street, and even if that stranger is a fellow Kenyan, and they ask you where you come from, your default answer will be Kenya. And then when they ask you what area of Kenya you come from, your default answer will be Kenya. And then when they ask you, what is your tribe? Your default answer will be Kenyan. Discover yourselves, unite your country. Thank you.